So when I was younger, I always used to take things personally. And when I mean personally, like if something was to happen or there was a rejection or someone said no, whether it came down to a job or me applying to anything, anytime I would get a rejection or anytime I would get a no, I would feel like a personal attack. I would take it quite personally. And it's quite interesting as I've gotten older because a lot of the aspects of life now is filled with rejection. Filled with rejection. It sounds a bit sad, but honestly, that's just the game nowadays. And I've grown to be a lot more resilient and understanding of the process because you are going to get more no's than yeses, right? When you are pursuing something big, something great, something impactful. And when you are in the process of doing so, it is in your best interest to keep going. Don't take it personally and keep going. Do your part of the deal, right? And that is what I'm going to talk about in this video. I'm going to talk about what it means to do your part of the deal. Because let's face it, when it comes down to any form of activation, whether you are doing a event, whether you are looking to do a webinar, a masterclass, anything that involves having to bring people from one place to another place. And it's even more difficult when it comes down to in-person events, right? You have to actually be able to get someone to leave their house to attend a actual event in person. That takes a lot of skill, a lot of perseverance and dedication. So for anyone watching this, if you are in the event space or you deal with any sort of events in general, I appreciate you, man. You're doing an amazing job. Keep it up because it's not easy. It's not easy. And with you playing your part and doing what you need to do it on the basis that you are not focused on the output and you're focused on your daily inputs. I've done a previous video talking about the difference of your inputs and outputs and how ultimately you need to be focused and dedicated to the process as opposed to being so fixated on the goal. And when you learn to do your part, right, and do your part in a way that allows you to do all the necessary inputs that will then allow you to get the relevant outputs as desired, then you will then realize that what people say after the fact has nothing to do with you. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. All you need to do is do your bit, do your end, right? Play your part, play your position based on the input and ensure that you do everything feasibly possible to align where you are able to say to yourself, you know what, I gave it my best shot. I went through all avenues, I went through all aspects of doing said thing, and I effectively exhausted all my resources to the point where this output or this result makes sense. And even when it comes down to the aspect of sales, you're going to face many rejections, right? People are not going to be ready, or they may not be necessarily happy with the price or any sort of objections. And you have to be in a process of working and dealing with the aspects of objection handling. But then ultimately, when you work on the idea of the law of averages and the law of large numbers, right, you will get the opportunity, you will get the yeses, you will get the confirmations. All it really comes down to is how many people are you actually reaching out to. And when it comes down to that process, then you need to realize that volume is a important factor when it comes down to doing your part, because you can't, for example, say you want to do an event per se and you want 10 people at your event, let's argue, and then you only reach out to 10 people. With that likelihood, based on that average aspect, you're not going to get anyone to be at the event because you didn't do your part. Doing your part in the grand scheme of things is you ideally, at a minimum, I would say, is 200 people. at a minimum. And even someone watching this will be like, even that is low. But that's a big difference in terms of the aspects of improving the likelihood and improving the odds and the chances of people actually saying yes. And then based on that, you are doing your part. And based on you doing your part, you're then learning in the process of, okay, you know what? I know that I need to do more outreach. But how do I do more outreach? I need to do more content, because content is an amplifier of me doing said outreach. And the more that people see what I am doing and what I am building towards, the more that people will gravitate towards me. And then in the process of you doing that, the more people that are actually engaging with your content, right? Because remember, engagement is an impactful part of the process, right? Remember, in the phases brand authority system, the phases framework, the E is engagement. That part is particularly important because you have to engage with your audience. You have to engage with your prospects. You have to engage with your leads. Anyone who is in the process of liking your content, commenting on your content, like honestly, any form of engagement, you need to consider that as someone that is worth having a conversation with, honestly speaking. And, you know, more or less nowadays, I see it all the time. There will be aspects of people posting content, for example, they'll be getting comments, they'll be getting love, like support, and they don't engage. They don't engage. They literally leave it empty, and they ghost the people who are actively supporting them. And that is not playing your part. That is not you playing your part. You playing your part is you reaching out to every single person organically and authentically and having a conversation with them, genuinely having a conversation with them, and just asking them what resonated with this post, or what are you looking to gain from following me or connecting with me? What do you want to learn? What can I teach you? What can I showcase? What can I help you with? That aspect of you developing that engagement and that connection from the get-go is you playing your part. You doing the direct outreach and reaching people in the DMs, right, is playing your part. You, with the content side of things, yes, you are putting out the content, which is excellent. However, if you are not actively reaching out to people and starting those conversations and starting that dialogue with everyone, everyone, honestly, everyone, you have to start the conversations with everyone. And for me, I was in a process of, you may or may not have heard from my previous videos months ago, but in the process of effectively re-strategizing and pivoting into a new ICP, literally purged my whole LinkedIn profile and removed so many people because I didn't know them. I had no idea who they were. And it was just a case of connections for vanity metrics. And like I always say, this is not a channel for vanity metrics. We don't do vanity metrics over here. So in the process of me removing all of those connections that I've had that I never had a conversation with, I never knew anyone that I connect with now, I'm having a conversation with them, or I'm starting a conversation with them. Whether they get back to me is a whole nother story, right? But I have put myself forward to have a conversation with them because I don't want to be in a position anymore where I am actively looking to connect with more people, learn from new people, create more strategic partnerships with more people, and I'm just connecting with people for no reason. At this moment in time, I feel like everyone has to play their part. I need to play my part. I need to do what I can do to help others. And in that aspect of things, developing those effective strategic partnerships with people and just genuinely getting to know people right now is a very important aspect for me. And when it comes down to that, you also need to also think of that in your pursuit of doing these big things. If you have big goals and big aspirations, you cannot be in a position where you feel uncomfortable to reach out to people. You feel like you're effectively, disturbing them or making them feel like, oh, they're in the process of doing something and you're kind of getting involved. You need to start thinking or assuming positive intent. Because when it comes down to sending a message per se, right, you don't know what the other person is doing or going through in that particular moment in time. So, with that in mind, you should never really take any aspect of things negatively until it is literally in your face. I.e., if you are messaging someone with, say, your offer, your service, and you've actually sparked a conversation opener, and then they reject you and they just say no thank you or go away or leave me alone, that is very much a telltale sign that they are cold and they are unlikely to really be wanting to have a conversation with you. And that's fine, but until that moment actually arrives, there is no reason as to why you do not continue to connect with people, reach out to people. If they do not respond back to you, give it some time. Give it maybe 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, however you decide. Reach out again, reach out in a different way, reach out with a different perspective, reach out with a different angle. Don't do the whole just following up. Provide something that will actually intrigue them, that will actually get the conversation starting. It all depends on your impact of how you deliver the message, because if you deliver it like everyone else, then you're going to get similar results. And like I always say, you need to be willing to do the things that people aren't thinking to do. And with that in mind, when you start to really negotiate and deal with aspects of outreach in that way, then it just helps a lot. It helps a lot in the process. So, with that, I just want to reinforce the importance of playing your part. Do your part, do your outreach, do your inputs, and you will get the outputs that you deserve, right? Because you only really get the results based on how much effort and work you put in the background. The things that no one actually sees, that is the real differentiator between yourself and other people in the field who are deemed more successful or more in a more high position in that aspect of things. But honestly speaking, I hope that this video is useful. And if you are watching this and you got to the end, then just know that this is for you. And I wish you all the best in whatever pursuit, whatever you're doing, whatever you're looking to build your brand and build your level of brand authority. I'm here to support you each step of the way. And if you are rooting for me as well, then please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. But on that note, that's it from me, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace out. Look after yourself.